Oh, welcome to class today. I'm going to include something called foundation training today, a little more than last time that we were together. I want to explain what foundation training is. Foundation training is a few set of exercises that put our bodies in kind of sometimes an unusual situation, and then we use the entire body, including our breath, to the purpose is to kind of start to build some internal strength and to expand and create space where we need it. And it's kind of to correct some of our imbalances. Let me give you an example. And by the way, we are going to use one block today, a small pillow or a book wrapped in a towel, just so it doesn't get too uncomfortable, okay? Let me give you an example of an imbalance in a lot of our bodies that in our modern world. How many of us sit with our legs like this? All right, and if you don't, okay, that's great. But a lot of us are used to kind of letting the legs flop open in some way or another. And when we do that, it's not that it's a bad thing, but what we do is we're starting to stretch here and compress here. And then after a while, that compression can start to make your back hurt. Got one more person joining. All right, so that's one example. We spend a lot of our lives, many of us do, not everybody, a lot of us spend our lives in external rotation in the hips, okay? So the idea is that with our foundation training, which we're going to include along with yoga, we're going to go into internal rotation. And you're going to feel that probably in your hips and your low back. But the point is to start to strengthen and counteract these habits that we have, okay? The other habit is, what are we doing with our neck? And so if we tend to jut our head forward all the time, then we start to create this tension in the neck and the top of the shoulders. And then we start to find that even our posture changes here. So the other thing we'll start to do is bring the chin up and then bring our ears in line with our shoulders. And just notice that as we pull our head away from our chest, we're starting to feel the work of our neck muscles working, okay? So the chin is up and back. So not tilted up. You're actually bringing it down and back so your ears are over your shoulders, okay? All right, so just a couple of examples. For now, let's get started by sitting back in your chair for a few breaths. And what you can do is just kind of wiggle around. Notice how your body's feeling today. For some of you, it's still, earlier in the day, maybe just afternoon. Here in Florida, it's 3 p.m. So it's kind of towards the end of my day, the end of my week. So I'm kind of starting to wind down a little bit. And then as you kind of sit back in your chair, notice, just check in and see how's everything is feeling today. And Lulu's going to join us for a little bit. All right. And then once you find a place that feels fairly comfortable, we're just going to come into our natural rhythm of breath. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. I want you to let your shoulders relax away from the ears, sitting back in your chair. And then maybe you even notice your feet if they're touching the ground. Good. And so you're just bringing your awareness to your entire body. We're not trying to fix anything, but just observing. What's talking to you today? And with your natural breath, just finding that rhythm. Your slow inhale, your slow exhale, or maybe it's a fast one, it's okay. As long as you're breathing, of course, that's the best part. Good one. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. And maybe now it starts to become just a little fuller with the inhale and a little slower with the exhale. Good. Come back to a natural breath. Gently open the eyes. So we've kind of gotten our settling in, ready for our practice. We'll start to make our way forward in the chair. And then just let yourself wiggle around. So you can go side to side. You can make some circles. I'm going to bring my microphone a little closer. Make sure it's picking up all my stuff. I like wiggles. It just lets me find the places in my body that want to get moving. You can do it any way you want to. Lulu's looking for her toy that she destroyed the other day. Yeah. All right. And then what we're going to do is just a little bit of warm up through the shoulders. So shoulders up, inhale, exhale, roll them back and down. We're just going 2 more times. Noticing that connection between our shoulders and our neck, maybe the arms. And then as you're ready, we'll go back and up and forward. So we're just going the opposite direction. Yeah, you're sorry, Lulu, no toys for you today. All right. And then just bring your shoulders down and move the head around a little. So you can just do a little wiggle side to side. Remember, we don't want the head jutting forward. We want to bring it up so the ears are over the shoulders. And then just kind of taking it a little side to side. Maybe gentle twist, right and left. Good. And then some circles. And if you're circling, of course, go the other direction as well. All right, so one thing I'm going to start with is 2 different kinds of breath. One kind of breath we want to calm our nervous system down, which we call parasympathetic, and the other one energizes our nervous system. So let's compare that. So if you took an inhale as if you were sniffing a rose or a flower, and then you just slowly blow, like say you imagine you have the petals in your hand and you slowly blow them away. That's the calming breath. So that's kind of like a really calming, energizing, or not energizing, calming breath, okay? So now we're going to imagine we have a window, and right in front of us is a garden, and it has all of our favorite flowers. And think about your favorite flower that smells good, all right? So we're going to take right arm. I'm just going to reach for one flower, and you're going to pick the flower, bring it in, and then you're just going to sniff that flower. And then you take all the petals in your hand, and you're just blow them away softly. Good. So it should be really slow exhale. Left arm, we're going to reach out the window on this side and then pick your flower and bring it back and you sniff it. And then you take all the petals off the flower, turn your palm up and slowly float those petals away from you. Good. The exhale lasts a really long time when we do that sound, the pursing of the lips, right? So one more time, we're just picking the flower. You can go in any direction you want to. There's that flower, your favorite one, whatever it is. And then we're going to bring it back in, take a sniff. And then taking those petals and floating them away. All right, and last time on the left. So you're going to reach across or anywhere you want to. You can find that one flower that you want and then bring it in. One more time, you're taking a sniff and then taking the petals and slowly blowing them away from you. Good, and then just come back to a natural breath, observing how that made you feel. To take those slower and gentler breaths, okay? All right, so that's meant to be calming, more soothing. This next breath is going to be more energizing, and you can see if that seems true for you or not. So feeling your rib cage, feel your rib cage lift away from your hips. Good, and then just placing your hands on the rib cage, your elbows out to the side, shoulders kind of down away from the ears. And then with your inhale, feel your ribs push out into your hands and back behind you. As big as they can go with a big inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to pull the belly in and up to push the air out. Good. Take 2 more. Inhale. Fill it up as far as you can go without being uncomfortable. And with the exhale, push the belly in, pull it in, push the air out. Good. Last time. Inhale. And then big exhale. Good, come back to a natural breath. Notice that that may be the opposite of calming. It starts to bring our nervous system up. There's times that that's important. All right, one last version of this breath, of a different kind of breath, is just this movement of inhale up and a big exhale, ha. Inhale up, exhale, ha, arm swing back. If you want to lean, you can lean forward, inhale here, exhale, lean forward, arms back. Take two more, inhale up and exhale, lean forward, arms back. Last one. And exhale, ha, good. Come back to center. Just notice the difference of all of those three breaths. So the first one is best when you're really needing to calm your body down. The last one is best when we need to wake up and we're looking for that piece of chocolate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or a cup of coffee. Maybe it's better to just take some big inhale, ha, ha, good. That middle breath is the foundation training decompression breath. That helps me feel my back stretch out from the inside and out. Okay, so we'll incorporate that in a few other things. Let's move into our spinal movements. So if you ever need to take a water break, this is a good time for it. I'm going to do it just because I'm already thirsty. Okay. So now we practice the breath, and now we're going to get the spine moving. So we'll come into cactus arms. Inhale, elbows back. Exhale, elbows close together. And inhale, open. Exhale, together. Can we start to make this into a cat-cow? So inhale, elbows back, chest lifts. We look up. Exhale, round and curl. Elbows come closer together. And then two more. Lifting, opening, exhale, rounding and curling. And last one. Beautiful. Come back to center after you complete that last one. Good. And then just rolling the shoulders around one at a time to wake up things. And then we'll come back to that cactus arms. If your arms get tired, just bring your hands to your shoulders. Okay. And all we're going to do is lean to the right. And inhale up and over to the left. And center. Keep going two more times. Remember, you can always bring your hands down if you'd like a break on your shoulders, okay? And exhale, beautiful. Inhale. And exhale, beautiful. And then come back. Phew, let the arms rest. Notice how that felt. Maybe let the head move a little. Good. All right, and then the final movement of the spine is going to be our twisting. So we can come back to this. Let's do shoulders, hands on shoulders instead. So keep sitting up tall. We'll inhale here and then exhale, turn and rotate to the right. And then inhale as we come back to center. Exhale over to the left. And inhale, center. Option to do cactus arms if you want to. And center. And over to the left. And then coming to center, this time bring the arms down over on that right side. The hands down, look over your right shoulder. Take an extra breath here. And then come back up to center. Exhale over to the left. Hands land on that left side. Look over your left shoulder. And an extra breath. Good, and then come back to center. Good, so we've done kind of our spinal movements. Feel free to wiggle it out a little bit. And we'll continue now with the hips. So we're going to come through our Charleston. I like to lift my heels, but you don't have to. All we're going to do is bring the knees in and out. And like we're doing the Charleston, okay? All right, seeing how that feels in your hip joints. And then now can we add a little bit of brain work? Let's cross the hands over and uncross, and then change the arm that's on top. Yeah, there we go. Maybe we should get some better music, some good Charleston music, right? And then what about palms up, palms down, palms up, palms down. Yay, good job. All right, and then come back to center. So just kind of get the hips moving here. All right, so now let's see, what do we have? Oh, we need feet. Let's get to the feet. So I just want you to have your knees facing forward. So we talked at the beginning how many times we go into external rotation. Today we're going to just, for now, just take the legs straight forward so that our hips are neither internal or external. And all I want you to do is feel the three corners of your feet, your base of your big toe, base of your pinky toe, and your heel pressing into the ground. And then even if it's just in your mind, see if you can lift your toes away from the ground, spread them out to the best of your ability, and then just bring them back down. Good, so I'll show you a little bit on the side what that might look like. So as the 3 points of the toes of foot push into the ground, the toes lift, spread. You may even feel your arches lifting. And then bring your toes back down. So that's an important muscle. Those are an important set of muscles. Being able to lift our toes engages the front of our shins and the tops of our foot. And then bring them back down. Okay, so it's just a really simple thing, but it's a good thing to practice. And if you had shoes on and your toes don't move that easily, you're just going to imagine that your toes are feeling out your shoes. And then you bring it back down. All right. Good. So now we're ready. We'll take the block, the pillow, or the blanket, a book with a towel around it, and just place the block between the legs. And I personally don't like it on the knee joint. It doesn't feel good, but you can do that if you want to. So the block is going to be between the thighs. And notice that just by putting that between the thighs, even if you're not, all of the work we do today, I want to say about 30% effort. Don't go 100%, because it can be fairly intense. But if you just keep a 30% effort of trying to hold that block, what do you feel? Right? So notice, are you feeling it here or here? Maybe even in the low back. All right, so we're just going to give it another breath and keep your spine lifted. Lift up your chest, draw the chin back, lengthen your head away, and then let go. Phew. Good. And just shake it out. So this is one example, and this is not even internal rotation. So now we're going to add the internal rotation. So we're going to bring that block between the thighs and let the heels go a little wider away from each other. The toes are turning in, the heels are slightly apart. It's strange. It's kind of like, what did they call that? Duck feet, right? Notice what that did to your hips. We went from external rotation to internal rotation. So there may be some sensations through here, especially if you're still hugging the block. And then we're going to take that one more time. Lift your chest, bring your chin up and back, and then bring your hands to your thumbs at the rib cage, your pinkies down towards your hip points. We're taking the elbows wide. And notice, so your elbows are out rather than back, okay? So you're like Wonder Woman. Shoulder shrug up, and then shoulder shrug down. Good. Now take a decompression breath. So decompression breath, inhale, the ribs spread out. The exhale, the belly pulls in and up to push the air out. Good. Keep squeezing the block. Keep lifting the neck. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, completely pushing the air out. And then just release everything. Did you feel that? So there's quite a bit of work, and I don't want to overdo it today because I just want you to get a sense of what this is about. But we're working all the way from our feet to our head, including our arms, including our legs. Let go of the block. All right. And then one last thing I want to do, and this time you don't need to squeeze the block. I just want you to have your toes slightly in and your heels slightly wide. Good. And so again, the option is just to keep the knees forward, or if you wanted to bring the knees together, you can. It's like the block, but feel free to come out of that when you need to, okay? All right, so we're going to add Sitting up tall, lifting the rib cage away from the hips. Take your arms by your sides, palms facing forward. Feel the upper arms hugging into this space right here. Good. And then scoop your arms forward. Bring your pinkies towards each other. They may not touch. Imagine that you're holding a big platter and you're going to let your thumbs reach out to the side. Good. Elbows right in. So you're going to be right about here. Yeah. And now take that big breath again. Push the air out. One last breath. Exhale. Whew. And then shake it out. Yay, good. So just a couple examples. I like these because they use so much of our body all at one time. So they're very efficient. All right, so now let's rest from that. We're going to come into our windshield wipers. So legs wide, and we're just going to go side to side. And then if we want to get a little bit fancy, what we could do is start moving the hands while we move the legs. Try not to fall out of your chair. All right. And then when you get to one side, doesn't matter which one, when you get to one side, you're going to take a pose. Whatever you want. Okay? Just get really fancy and cute, glamorous, silly, whatever you want to. Yay. Good. All right. I love it. I love it. Love it. All right. And then make sure you go to the other side. And what's your pose here? You choose whatever you want. You can be Madonna. You can be the Statue of Liberty. You can be Rosie the Riveter. Okay, so choose anything you want to here. All right, good job. Yeah, beautiful. Ballerina, come back to center. Nice job. That's just for fun. All right, take a deep breath, lengthen your spine. With your exhale, we're just leaning forward, finding your forward bend. Choosing how far you want to go with your hands, your forearms, whether your legs are wide or close together. I tend to take my legs wide because I want more room for the front of my body, so you can check in and see if that works for you. Move the head around if that feels okay here. Good. And then you'll take your time. We'll make our way back up. Lower back, middle back, shoulders, and head. Nice. All right. Ready for one more water break before we make our way to standing. Please know that if you don't want to stand or if you need to sit down anytime, it's okay. You will do the upper body work or rest. Otherwise, if you're ready to stand, just make your way up any way you'd like. And you can make sure that your chair is nearby for balance. I'm going to set mine to the side if I can get Lulu out of the way. Excuse me, Lulu. All right. Our whole household is all about Lulu. I'm changing this so you can see me a little bit better. All right. Now that we've made our way to standing, I want you to check back in with your feet again. Can you find those three corners of the feet, the big toe, the pinky toe, the heel? Noticing that foundation of your feet into the ground. And then if possible, lifting your toes and spreading them out. I do it with my fingers too, just because it makes sense to me. All right, and then bring your toes down, and your toes are going to help grip the ground. So that's part of your balance. All right, and then we'll take our circles. So inhale, arms reach out and up. We're going to bring the hands to prayer. Exhale to prayer. Inhale, bring it back up. And exhale, release. Taking two more just like that. Reaching up, lifting your rib cage away from your hips. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale down. Good. Last time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. And then inhale up and release the arms. Good. Take your hands to your hips. A little softness in the knees, and you're just taking a little bow forward. It doesn't matter how far you go, except that I want you to make sure your back is okay. So I'm gonna go maybe about a third of the way, hands on thighs. Some of you might decide you're gonna go a little further. So just pause, feel a little back here. And anytime we're in a bend, we hinge at the hips, but we draw the low belly in. Good. And then slowly come back up. Sweep the arms out and up. And hands to heart again. Good. Release the arms. We're going to come back to a foundation training pose. And this one's going to be called the founder. The feet are about hip width apart. And the toes are angled in a little bit. We're going to go back through that internal rotation, only to the extent that you see the outer edge of your feet about parallel to the edge of your mat or to your other foot, okay? It may feel really awkward, and that's intended. It's intended to be a little awkward because it's opposite of what most of us do. We'll always keep our knees unlocked here. So we're not locking the knees and we're not doing a deep bend. We're just going to feel a little softness into the knees there. All right, and then once more, bring our thumbs to our ribs and our pinkies down toward the hip points. Elbows open out wide to the side. Good. Think about your chest getting broader and your back getting broader. Lift your chin and then tuck it down so you feel the back of the neck longer. All right, take a deep breath here into your rib cage. And exhale, draw the belly in. Good, one more time. Exhale. We all look like Wonder Woman. All right, now bring your arms by your sides. Let's shake it out. Feel free to shake and wiggle and kind of let go of some of that tension. So this does create tension in the body, but it's meant to be in a good way so that we're strengthening the muscles that keep us long and tall and strong, okay? All right. One more variation of that. Your legs go wider, as wide as you're comfortable with, hip width or wider. And before we come into the pose, I want to introduce something called the sphere of tension. The sphere of tension is your fingers each touching each other. It's a little sphere. Each finger pushes into each other a little. So if you extend your arms out, but your elbows are slightly bent down, and you press a little more into your thumbs, notice where you feel that. Maybe in your chest, okay? And if you press a little more into your pinkies, maybe you feel that down here. So it's so funny how our thumb muscles can attach all the way up there. All right, so we're going to create a little bit of tension. Like I said, about 30% effort, maybe 20, okay? All right, so bring your arms by your sides. We're in the wide, slow, feet are, again, toes slightly turned in. Knees are soft. So we're going to start by external rotation, turning the palms forward, shoulders back. Inhale, keep yourself long here. And as you exhale, you're going to hinge your hips back and scoop your arms forward into that sphere of tension. Good. And then as you inhale, you're going to come back up. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what it looks like. We're hinging through the hips. Exhale, reach out. Sphere of tension. Inhale, come back up. Good. Last one. Exhale, hold. So keep bringing your elbows soft, your chin back, the back of the neck is long, hinging at the hips. Take a deep breath into the back of your rib cage. Exhale, push the air out, drawing the belly in and up. And then inhale, come back up. Phew, release. Take the feet a little closer together and just do a little march. And I'll give you an example of what that hinge is for. We want to start using this to pick up something. So you drop something, right? And we want to pick up something this way rather than this way, okay? So rather than kind of leaning and reaching it this way, we want to use the hips because those are stronger. They're meant to do that work, okay? All right. So now, finally, I want to move into a little bit of a balance pose. So you're going to move to the right side of your chair, or just something that you can use your left hand to hold onto. All right. So the first version, and I want to show you the gentlest one first, and then give you the option for the one that's a little more intense, okay? So the first one is right foot forward, left foot back. With a small step, the back heel is still kind of down. All right, so the back heel might be slightly off the ground, but mostly down. And then you're going to take both sets of toes and turn them in slightly. So there's that internal rotation in our hips again. All right, so that's version one. And in this pose, you're going to feel your feet pulling towards each other to use your inner thighs, okay? All right, so that's version one. We start here and just check in with our balance. How's the balance here? Is it wobbly? I know I am. All right, and then release. Good. March it out a little bit. We're going to stay on the same leg, and I want to give you the second version. So the first version is just a small step. The second version is a big enough step that the back heel comes up. Your choice, okay? So if your back heel is up, you're going to feel only 2 points of contact on the back foot, 3 points of contact on the front foot. So just remember, this is an option. If you need to go smaller, it's okay. And once again, the right toe is slightly turned in, the left heel slightly out. All right, and then we're going to turn the palms forward. Remember, you can always use your left hand to hold on to your chair. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, hinge the hips back, scoop forward into that sphere of tension. Good. One more time. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, hips hinge back, arms forward. Good. And then come back up. Beautiful. Step your feet together. Good job, everybody. All right. Holding onto the back of the chair, take your down dog, stretching your legs back, your hips back, noticing how that feels in your body. I'm just taking a little break before we come to the second side. All right, coming back up. Nice job. All right, second side. So now this side, you move to the left side of your chair. You may not need to move, it's just an option. And you may not even need your chair at all, but I just want to make sure you have it there for balance. All right, this time left foot is forward, right foot is back. Small step, meaning that the back heel is barely off the ground. And you still want the toes slightly turned in, not a lot, just enough that if you had a clock, your toes are pointing at 12 o'clock, okay? So there's an internal rotation of your thighs rolling in against each other. You can start to feel your thighs pulling towards each other. And then we're just lengthening, lifting our rib cage away from our hips. All right, and we'll start with arms out. And just check in. How's your balance here? And remember, you can have your hand on the chair. All right, so how's your balance here? A little wobble. That's pretty normal. Good. And then let's take a little break before we go to the second version. So you can see this is similar in some ways to yoga, but also very different in other ways, okay? I like to mix them both together. This time, the option is to take that left foot forward a little bigger of a step. Big enough that that back heel comes up off the ground, maybe about 2 or 3 inches. Good. And we're still slightly turned in on the front toe and slightly turned out on the back heel. Good. Rotating the inner thighs in and then coming up, lengthening. Good. Inhaling while the arms are facing forward. Exhale, hinge your hips back, scoop forward to that full sphere of tension. Good. And then one more time. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then come back up. All right, and step the feet together. Yay! All right, so maybe you got to move your feet around. Maybe you want to take a forward bend, maybe you want a down dog. You can take anything you want to release the work that we just did. So I like down dog, I like forward bend. Sometimes my low back starts to get a little tired and sore. And then we come right back up. All right, the last thing I want to do while we're still standing is come into our, we'll use the block one more time. And at this time, I don't want it to be strenuous. So we're going to we will take that block between the thighs, but just enough to hold it in place, not a big squeeze. Just enough so that you can feel the inner thigh muscles working, okay? All right, and then we begin to bend the knees. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see we bend the knees, sit back a little, and then there's our chair pose. Right? So you can notice that. So we're going to add, come back up. Inhale, sit back, arms forward. Exhale, come back up, arms back. And again, inhale, sit back, and exhale, back up. This time we're going to hold. So hold, keep breathing. Feel your feet, feel the inner thighs and your abdominal muscles working to hold this pose. Good, and then push into the feet, lift up, maybe lift your chest, and then release. Nice job. We're done with the block. Put that off to the side. And finally, we're going to make our way back down to the chair. So resting when you want to, or if you have one thing you want to do before you sit down, you can do that. So foundation training, the reason I did the training for it and became certified is because it's the one thing that has helped my back the most. Yoga was like really helpful to me, but it was something I had to do the stretches every day. And then I would have the same back pain by the end of the day, whereas foundation training seems to be actually correcting whatever it was that was causing it. So just something to think about. All right, so now we're sitting down. Take a little rest, maybe grab some more water. And we'll come into our final stretches. All right, so here we go. Let's just do a little bit of shoulder work too before we come back to the legs and the hips. So we're just going to reach the arms out. Inhale and exhale, give yourself a hug. Good. Now notice which arm is on top. We'll take it open again. Inhale, and then the other arm out. Good. And then one more time, inhale. And you're just going to go, let's do right arm on top this time. And your hand's going to be on your shoulders. Some of you can see if your elbows are stacked, you can bring the hands back to back or wrapping the palms. But notice that shoulders is the first place that most people have accessible to. All right, keep the shoulders shrugged down from your ears and then lift your elbows. Good. And then you get to decide if you're taking it to let's go to the left and turn your head to the right. And then bring it back to center and let the elbows go to the left. Sorry, right, and your head to the left. Good, and then back to center. Beautiful. And then unwind the arms and fly away. Good. Eagle pose, right? Eagle arms. All right, and this time, left over right. So we start with the hug first. And then we decide, can we do wrapping? My shoulder is different on this side, so I'm not so good on this side. So I'm going to keep the hug. Shoulders wrap down, shrug down, and then elbows lift. All right, and this time we're going to let the elbows go to the right and our head to the left. And then bring the elbows center. The elbows go to the left, your head turns to the right. Good, and then come back to center. Good. I know that's a little complicated, right? Open out the arms wide, and then again, fly away. Yay. Ooh, shaking out the arms, shaking out the shoulders, noticing how that felt on your body. All right. Now we'll come back to the legs and the hips. I wanted to just give them a break after we were standing. So we're going to come forward in the chair and stretch your right leg out in front of you. I'll turn it diagonal so you can see a little bit better. So that front leg, that right leg is going to be a little bend in the knee. The left foot is on the ground. We'll keep both hands on that left thigh. And we'll just start to lean forward. Noticing that maybe you feel this on the back of that right leg through the hamstring area, maybe even in the low back. So you stop when your body tells you to stop. And the body will tell you to stop either through pain or noticing that you're holding your breath or it's too tense for you. So back off. And once you get to the point where it feels like it's sustainable, you're going to pause there for about 3 breaths. Feel free to let the right hand reach for whatever is in reach. And then just begin to soften through the shoulders, the face. And letting your body say, this is safe. It's okay. And as we complete that 3rd breath, we'll start to come back up. Bring the right knee with us. Give it a hug. Nice. All right, and the left hand's going to draw the knee across or just kind of to the center. And then we let our body rotate to the right, maybe reaching out with the right arm. Coming back through center, your right ankle either crosses in front of the left ankle or it comes up to the thigh if that works for your hips. Don't feel like you need to force it. Just notice what your hips are feeling like here. And then for me, it's plenty just to be here. I don't really need to go anywhere to feel this. But if for some reason you want a little more, you start to lean forward into it. Or lean to the left. Just notice, where do you feel something that's useful for your body? There's not any particular goal other than to just feel. Once you find that pose, take 2 more rounds of breath. Good. And then begin to bring our body back upright if we were leaning forward, and then just uncrossing the leg, shake it out. All right, notice that right side. That's the one we did so far. So we'll go to the left side. Now the left leg extends. I have my heel down and my toe up, but your toe doesn't have to be up. It's going to make it a little more intense. Keep your hands on the right thigh, lengthen up through your spine. Inhale, and then as you exhale, we'll just start to hinge, noticing where does our body stop? What's talking to you here? Back of the leg, back of the low back area. Keep your low belly drawing in a little bit just to protect your low back, and then let your left hand reach for any part. So some people can easily reach their toe, but it's not a goal. Just take a few breaths here. Can you soften somewhere in your body without collapsing your spine? Good. And then bringing both hands back to the right thigh, we'll start to come back up. Left knee comes in with us, hugging it in toward the center. And then the right hand helps draw it toward the center. Option to lengthen the spine and start to rotate to the left. Taking an extra breath or 2 here. And then unwinding the twist, we start to cross the left ankle over the right, making a wing, or checking to see if we're comfortable with bringing the ankle to the thigh. Notice one hip can be very different than the other. I always like to put an L-shaped flexion into that ankle to make sure that the muscles around the knee are protecting the knee, okay? Again, do you want to stay here? Do you want to lean one direction or forward? So take your time. We're going to take about 3 rounds of breath here. You choose how far to go and where you want to go. Let's put the licking, Lulu. Good. And then start to come back up. Beautiful. And uncross the leg. And then shake that one out. How does this side feel? All right. As I always say, if we have a happy hip, we want both sides to be happy. If you have a grouchy hip, you're going to end up with both being grouchy. So it's okay to kind of pay attention and see how that feels. We're going to start to sit back in the chair. Lulu's trying to get attention. That's why she likes to lick the air. All right, so we did a little bit of everything today. Did you feel that? The neck, the shoulders, the hips, the legs, the feet, everything. So about the thing I like to save this for the hands, because we always need to work through the hands and stretching them out a little bit. So first, let's do a little bit of work. And I'm going to show you up close so you can see what I'm talking about. Is first we take, let me get down a little higher here. First, we bring left thumb over toward the pinky. See how that stretch feels? And then we're going to do pinky over to the left to the thumb pad. And then ring finger over to thumb pad. Yeah, it's a big stretch. And then middle finger to thumb pad. And then index finger to thumb pad. Then we're going to go back to thumb across to the pinky and then wrap your fingers around it. A little squeeze, turn your palms to face each other, and then tilt your hands down. Big stretch right across the top of the thumb. Good. Yeah, almost like you're pouring from a pitcher, okay? All right, and then spread the fingers wide and shake out the hands. Yay, it's always good to do some hand stuff. I'm going to go back to here. All right, so now my favorite hand stretches are like this. Interlace the fingers, move the wrists around. Yeah. And then go the other way. All right, and then press the palms forward. You can keep it low, you can go middle, you can go high. If you go high, you can go side to side. Good, and then just releasing. Roll the wrists around a few times. And then this time, interlace your hands, but switch the hand that's on top. I know that always gets confusing, but try to do it the opposite way of what you normally do. So it's still just like this, except that you used the other hand on top, okay? All right, same thing, move the wrists around. And then go the other way. Ooh, that feels so awkward. And then one more time, pressing the palms forward. And if it's forward, you're going to take a little twist. A little twist. If it's up, you're going to take a side bend. Side bend. Good. And then one more time, sweep, swirl it down. And then shaking out the hands. Okay. One more thing for the wrists, press your palms together, spread your fingers wide, and then lift the elbows without shrugging the shoulders. So you're going to keep your shoulders down, but the elbows start to lift up. Feel that pressure or the stretch in your wrists. Notice how that feels. All right, we're going to press the hands to the right, but turn our head to the left. And then come back to center. The hands go to the left, our head turns to the right. And then come back to center. Spin the fingers so that they start to face forward and maybe down. Watch your shoulders, don't shrug your shoulders up. And then now turn the fingers so that they're coming towards your chest, maybe a little. Good. Now we're going to come back to center. We're going to start to bring the elbows close together. Keep your thumb and your pinkies together and see if you can spread the center fingers like petals of a flower. It may not happen. That's okay. And then we're going to reach it up like a lotus flower growing through the mud, coming up above the water. And now it becomes a crown. And it's a crown on your head. Hey, good job. All right. And then release the hands. Nice job. All right. And then just last bit of whatever your hands need. You can do fists, circles, or just shaking it out. All right. I always think the hands are so important. So I always like to make sure and include some of that. Finally, we're going to sit all the way back in the chair. Take any last bit of movement that you need. So if you need another forward fold, go for it. If you need another stretch, feel free to take that. I always joke that if you want to take your headstand, this is a good time, but it's really not. So I'm not doing a headstand. All right. And we're just going to let ourselves start to find the place where we want to rest in our chair. So now we've done all this work through the body. Can we let go? Can you feel your feet resting? Your back of your legs resting, as well as your whole back into your chair. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can. And I want you, this time as a little visualization, can you visualize your bones in your body? And visualize those bones getting stronger as we place some of these pressures on the bones to strengthen them. And then begin to visualize the muscles that wrap throughout the body. And as well as all the connective tissue, our tendons, our ligaments, everything that is now connecting to the bones or just outside the bones. Then start to visualize your organs, your internal organs throughout the torso, including your heart. Your heart's just beating at its normal pace, and your breath is natural. Finally, start to now notice the skin and all the layers of the dermis that kind of keep it all together. And as you visualize the whole body as one unit, you let it all rest here, knowing that you've done enough for today. And just let yourself rest. A few rounds of breath, and I will bring you back when it's time. Stop. Very slowly bring your awareness back into your body. Reconnect with your breath. Notice how you feel. You can start to find that little bit of movement of whatever's ready to move, whether it's your toes and your ankles, your fingers and your wrists, your head and your neck. Maybe taking a big stretch if you'd like to stretch. Then finally opening the eyes. Good job, everybody. Take a deep breath through your nose. Let it go with a big sigh. Good. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And now begin to consider, sorry, Lula's just doing so many crazy stuff today. Consider the energy you brought today. What we brought into this session and what we take away with us. Consider the energy you can take with you into the rest of your day, into your life, and to those around you. I hope that it's a good energy, and I hope that you can continue it throughout the rest of your day. Namaste.